Page 3. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Thus free like you the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of mirror with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15. The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagawan was dwelling on massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagawan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomenon perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara: How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagawan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagawan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadvatiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagawan. Page 25. O Sashipake Jukshin Metal Chamri Rabling Shi Nidegan Party Sange Shingdu Mete Ulwa Yijokunanda Shingla Chopasho Jetsuna Lama Dampakenam Gichokukala Gense Jinjigne Chitatsampe Duchesinama Lazap Yechoki Japababtuso Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Page 27. Chodan Soge Chonam La Jang Chil Badu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chunin
Lola Venje Sanje Dobara Sho Sanje Chodan Soji Chon Chanjo Vada Dane Jasanje Dagi Chuchin Jive Sonam Ji Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Sanje Chodan Soji Chonam Chanjo Vada Dane Jasanje Dagi Chuchin Jive Sonam Dola Venji Sanje Dogara Sho Sanje Chedan Soji Chana Kanjo Bana Dani Josam Dagi Shujin Giri Sanam Dola Venji Sanje Dogara Āda Zenyi Zame Dāda Jepamani Dami Shine Kodam De La Chase Tunyi Nyingi Sune Jobe Nga Shishi Sise Kanji Tenjo Kwa Chana Pema Tinze Josa So De So Jinde Lunu Yon Banden Zara Lama Rama Jine Dagi Churu Pime Di Shine Kodi Chimbe Kone Shison Di Kusong Tuji Oda Edo So Os Dang Kulong Kumchi Yapshu As Kumyak Wochira
So we'll do a motivation meditation to start off with.
Ngaya Da Gawa Gong La Lorik Lobjon Chili Chongadi Da Yawayin
So now, Joyce, feel how very fortunate we are, how wonderful this opportunity is to study this mind and knowledge.
아야. 다 단다디 먼저 로리 열어. 네 ngaranzo tujun chowenala. 로리 뒤인데 따다 먼저 두고 열었어. 다디 베제 틱대에서 먼저 파주 척부 차주고 그러면서 단다디 ngaranzo tujun기 배유 신당당 독바제당당 지진나라. ngaranzo chowenala 로리 뒤인게 디게 따다 먼저 배주에 지고 열었어.
So, studying this awareness and knowers text is very important. It's very valuable in our daily life. If we understand these 7 knowers, or 7 awareness and knowers, then this can help us to overcome, can help us to deal with some of the difficulties we face in our daily lives.
Penarwa, pena nganzo tangbo dos maranzo pena dinderjili chashidrwa. Gewa ngajiro jila chashangnilarwa, gewa ngaji.
Okay.
Gewa ngaji lo samno tayonde gewa ngaji amjola kowa zamroji, samno kowa dugmendo. Gewa ngaji senedi sigla kowa ning ta nawa sha dugmendo. Kazanata yuna mena tenzomra bisagdorwa. 당부들 저왕아 유나 메나 텐좀사기도
So, for example, first, if we think about reincarnation, previous lives, then when we first hear about this idea, it doesn't necessarily convince us, right? We don't. At this point, we probably still have some doubt. Oh, when we first hear about it, does reincarnation exist or not? We may have doubt there.
다 봐, 텐좀 찍로디 다 저왕아 다 김제 삼단다 릭직다 여서 말에 삼제 짐베이나 안 록시 차로로 다 저왕아지 요 말에 짐베이나
요 말에 okay
짐베이나 록시 차로로.
So then at that point later, if we think about it some more, this doubt could go either way. So if it goes in the direction of actually believing or holding that there are no previous lives, then at that point it's become a wrong consciousness.
다드네 페지 요서레스 다양로 김진 삼는다디 저왕아지 테녜도 다 요서레 삼 지윤디 다 이주 차로고 이주.
If you start to think, it does exist, like just feeling that it probably exists, then it becomes like a belief at that point. Yusare or yure?
이주.
Trust, belief.
말다 빌립 말에 이주. 제시 로지 이주와 이주. 세마 로리디오나 이주 하면서 트러스 말다 이주. 이거데. 제시 이주 와 이주. 이주 기능 로사인 방도.
I'm trying to find what they translated the 7.
네 재미기 제시 이주에서 재미가요로. 니버디. 재미 니버디. 이주.
Oh, sorry, not belief. Correctly assuming consciousness is. So then it becomes correctly assuming consciousness.
다고 다 요서에 삼진 거로. 다딜라 디젤라 다 김진 삼다네로. 다 저왕아지 테녜도 아니 릭방아마 김진 도고도 근데 삼다는데 아니 배 이와 김진들네 또도 자와스마지로 거다.
So then when you think about the reasoning behind that, like, okay, this cognition karesumdo?
김진들네 콤방아마 링당아마 그저 릭 셰베 링당아마요.
Tringidu.
미카시 저왕아마 튕기도 와. 카시 딜 김제 칸에 릭베 링당아마요 레스 링당아마.
링당아마스.
링당아마세데 베나가 계산하기 가 드링아니 지버래도 와. 계산 셰왕아마 껴와 디기 셰와다 껴왕아메 셰와.
Okay. So when you think about the reasonings, like some is that some people might remember their previous, some is this continuation. So for example, this mind is a continuation, so therefore there must have been mind before this life, and so forth, like that. When you think of these reasonings and you come to, through the reasoning, understand that, and potentially understand that previous lives do exist, then it becomes an inferential cognizer.
디 먼저 또 주고래. 먼저 김제 삼단 때 먼저 또 두고래. 먼저 김제 삼단 제와. 먼저 그 참아 제와 참아 깨초고래. 먼저 하라. 먼저 줄에 제와 참아 깨초고래.
So, like, we have this ability to have this understanding, have this inferential cognizer. We can generate these inferential cognizers in our, or inferential prime cognizers in our consciousness.
다 신의 곰잡잡잡잡 신의 톱대유나. 다디 신의 톱 사는 것이 연구 말해. 신의 톱 사스나나. 아니 당기 김진 삼담도 야야야서도 아니. 겨왕아망아마 무슨데 통고여라. 다디 니 신의 저 근데 신신시베 것이라디 신의 톱 사회 띵라면시야 요 말이다. 어디디 무슨 뜻이야? 땡 무슨 참을 얘기도 하대. 다디 든데지리도 무슨 참아.
So at this point, once you have but later, once you develop calm abiding, then this reasoning is not necessary anymore. You don't have to think about previous lives in terms of this and that reasoning. You can actually see them directly. So at this point, you can have a direct prime cognizer seeing previous lives.
다양한 저 배출래 나오지를 샤비나 포바 나오지를 샤비나로 로릭되는데 포바들 샤비나 무슨 참아 통구도 무슨 통구도 알아 무슨 참아 통구도 하대 딱다 통구도 하대 무슨 참아 차송아.
Right. So, an example would be like us now perceiving this cup. We can perceive this cup directly, right? So this would be an example of like this direct perception.
다야 네 포미다와 안절로 포미다와 난그래 안저 미실로 나저 포미다와 또 두고요 말해 진두고 또 두고 매자 안저 포미다와라 나라망에 차르고다 나라망에 와 나오리 포미다와 나오리 예 두고 또 두고요 말해 매자 나라망에 차르다.
But an example of appearing not apprehending would be things like the impermanence of this cup. This appears to us, but we're not able to hold it, or we're not able to, ascertain it. It says it's not ascertained here. So we're not able to ascertain the impermanence of the cup, even though it appears to us.
당저 포바도 따는데 다 당보 포바든 게나도 제라 미시 두고도 상저 이제 제 징기도 와. 딜럭시레.
So also, like, we kind of can hold on to this idea that first the cup arises, and then subsequently we perceive the cup. So the cup arises first, and then the perception of the cup arises. So this is like a wrong consciousness.
이제 대응을 텐섬 두고 이래. 포바 대응을 두고이나 님도 두고이나 텐섬서 다 포방을 두고도서나 당보 텐섬지로. 디삼다 나도 포바디도 미시디니 먼저 셔바다 포바 나 셔방을 두고도 포바지를 두고 연나 맨나 텐섬지 나는. 근데 다 포방을 두 미시 셔바디 질을 지고도 짐바이나 아니 텐섬고 제스 록시지기도.
So, it might start off with doubt, right? You might think, does this cup arise before the eye consciousness perceiving the cup? There might be doubt which one arises first. But at the point where you actually think, no, the cup arises first, and then the eye consciousness perceiving the cup, at that point, it becomes a wrong consciousness.
다디 삼노당인데 다 레멘도면데 다디 포바디 뇌를 두고면도 페지 님도 두고 요서레스. 지요나? That's a lot in the child, yeah.
So if you go the other way and think about it and go, no, the cup and the eye consciousness perceiving the cup arise simultaneously, they arise together, then at that point it becomes a concordant consciousness or correctly assuming consciousness.
So at
this point it hasn't realized it. But it's holding it, but it hasn't realized it. Maybe you could say it's apprehended or ascertained it, but it hasn't realized it.
Well, those do that, and that for me that what Tom for damage said the young Jumzin some dynamism on the Hadukshin document, that Java Chayangora.
But, for ordinary people like us, if we go through the reasoning, the logic behind it, and we actually, through valid reasoning, come to ascertain the correct way, then it becomes an inferential prime cognizer.
어쨌든 딩어나즈 루릭 듄디 어나즈기 쇼베레 라네 건다마니베지 직디리 디마레 디리 레안디나라다 디제데 코르잠네 누구요다.
So throughout our day, we actually go around through these like consciousnesses, you know. So is it this? Is it that? And we go through this correctly assuming and all of these things through our daily lives.
다음도 키싱 디나라다 먼저 참아 로르디는 참아니로 살아로 참아니 무슨 참아 제와 참아 도셔셔. 다 재미나네 제시다 이주니로 살아로 다 숨바들이 나나망이 와들이.
So now we're going through the prime consciousnesses of a division.
나나망이 숨바.
Yeah, I think it's the non-prime consciousnesses, and we're going to the third one of that, which is appearance without apprehending. In my text, it's on page 44. No. Have I lost my page completely? Yeah, so I've lost my page. I thought I was on the right page. Yeah, that's the one. I'm just trying to find the page. I think 38. Yeah, sorry, I got jumbled around there. Yeah, mine it's page 37, midway through. Gonda.
어다 딩에랑도 참아니로 살아서 무슨 참아다 제가 참아도 살아서 가버 제살아서.
So we've covered off the two prime cognizers, the direct prime cognizer and the inferential prime cognizer.
다 참아 많이 변하네 제시다 이주니 살았다.
And we've done the two of the non-prime cognizers, the subsequent cognizer and the correctly assuming consciousness.
다 숨바 디린디 나라망에 왔다더라.
And now we do the third one, which is appearance without apprehension.
다디 친이샤도 친이로 다 친이디 마도인다. 다디 친이디 나라딘데요. 랑기 주유디 주에 랑제 세워 나와야 인스로 랑기 주유디 주에 랑제 랑게와 되면은 왜 베시든바. 유에 리과 라니 나라만 르스니서 랑게 죽유스나 발라고래. 배나 죽유스네 유조더라고 유조들라 죽유소. 다 유망고 여러 낭유 신유 주유 콜 망보나요야 여러 티자마야 유나게 유조들라 죽유스다디 코나다다다 지그래. 유디 죽세 유와.
So the definition of awareness to which an object appears without being ascertained is a knower that is a common locus of having clear appearance of the specifically characterized phenomena of its object of operation and being unable to induce ascertainment with respect to the specific characterized phenomena which is its objects of operation. So this object of operation is the jugyo, which is more commonly translated as object of engagement. But this object of operation or object of engagement is said to be the main object. So there's the various objects. There's the appearing object, there's the literary shenyo is other object, but the main object is said to be the object of operation or object of engagement.
Pena dinde yoro 아주 부구 춘주가나로 해야 다 부구 춘주야 차연데 아니 추시도서 망고지 통용으로 추시 가고 마고 세워 망고 통용으로 안 추시 공부시다 추시 공부시 통용인데 추시 공부 통하다 람산 디 미지기 된 공부를 말라나나 그 공부 임바하고 말아 아니 공부 통계 요나면은 텐좀 템바치는 게매 디네가 그 문제 원원지로 공부 진배 공부 그 단위 마신이 해로 부구 춘주가나로 부구 춘주의 깔라디 공부를 해서 하마고 원들라 되게 미시들라 공부 진배 원원지로 디나라만 해오래다.
So the mixture di nangamane.
Musumdir, Musumdir.
Okay. So, for example, a small child who, like a baby or a very young child, will see all the various hues or the colors, blue, red, and so forth. But if they haven't been told, oh, this is blue, this is red, and so forth, then they might see blue. Or the blue might appear to their sense power, sense consciousness, but they won't be able to apprehend it as blue because they're not aware that it's blue. So this would be, or ascertain it as blue. This eye consciousness would be an example of an awareness to which an object appears but is not ascertained.
yang ran zo mi gemba la pe chawi na zo sim di she nyin de ro she nyin bo chi nyin ji de de yin na zo mi gi jala de tong de jala kha yo sha kha ten du men de wa zo am jo she nyin de ro ting sa bu de nyin gi do am jo she nyin ani mi gi jala de tong de jela su zo pa ma mo de ki ka sha na 당게 지 샤요 다 튕기면 될거다 어디 나라만 되래
So maybe some people, like maybe older people who have trouble with memory, or maybe people who are distracted, like a lot of people these days wander around listening to music, young people listening to music and so forth. At this point, they might see like their keys, right? It might appear to their eye, but later somebody might say to them, "Oh, where's the keys?" Like the mother might ask a young child, or a teenager, "Where's the keys?" And they go, "I don't know." So even though it appeared to them, they didn't ascertain it.
어디 딘데 배 망고 요래. 긴산 딘데 망고 요래.
There's many examples like this.
다단다 학과데 긴산 단다 롭다 보고 춘주 하이스고다. 그래서 아니 소셜 미디어다 딘데 망고 단에 심상만 될치로 아니 내 기겐기 계제 쉐인데 암조 그거요 맞다. 심상만 단계기 video game da movie da social media na la ke bala bala shenjo de zona sim sam de dora sim de shu tha de ine ge ge glob jong tinjo de je de daji khore me shi ji thanda je sindu go yo mar da ting san kang pe chembor da ting san de ta du sam na la mang yora da
like many these days, there's many examples like at high school. The children have a lot of distractions like social media or video games or movies and these types of things. So even they might be in class and they might be hearing the sound, their minds are distracted with whatever social media or video games. So they're not actually listening, they're not apprehending it, or they're not ascertaining what the teacher's saying. So their minds, because even though they're hearing it, their minds are distracted. So they're not apprehending the sound. So this actually happens a lot, and it's a bit of an issue these days.
All of these
are objects which appear but are not ascertained.
Tanda di pejana la tsinshi di sharo yi su sem di yang de temu ro ji la ta de ka du la yang su ye mi di geje shewi na geje gar shewa di hagu daji de ko gre bal sen jil gar shewi di jin du ma ro di yang de on danzi ongwe di na la mang yore o di sharo peje tsinshi jik de da.
So this might be like you're watching a movie or something, right? Something that you're seeing is really engaging you, and you're focused on that. And even though somebody's talking to you at the time, you're not really getting what they're saying. You're not really listening to what they're saying. So even though you're hearing the sound, you're not actually comprehending it because you're focused elsewhere. So this is again an example of awareness which an object appears but is not ascertained.
Oh, dear. That's simdi. ni pe yugan juk tu go mar da ro sim di pe zin tu go do tu go mar da chamba nya tu go mar ta ding sang na zo mi chamba de mo mong mo men jo chi de na la mang ye wo de be mang than sam da ya mang than ba ani sim di ta da wa gan sha tu go mar wa ani chamba de mo me cha ro ta jum zen de.
So there's a lot of things like that where you can't realize the object, really apprehend it, and therefore you can't remember it. So this happens a lot. People's minds are so busy and they're maybe wired up, and they're experiencing all things, but they're not actually taking it in, right? So this is because they're very distracted. So this is why we need to calm our minds and bring them into the present moment. So when we talk an awareness of to which an object appears but is not apprehended, it's all direct perceivers, not sorry, it's not conceptual, it's all direct perceivers.
랑제스 ngobo nanyu tishinidela ngobo nanyu chidel ngusum shi tokbo dwayo marda.
Okay, so it's because it says here it's a common loss of having clearly appeared, right? So when the object is clearly appeared, then it has to be a direct perception.
랑 주의도 랑센스도 다단다 도데발로 먼저 도데바시고 랑센스야데 ngobo ko ngobo jidin labde takbal ko 랑센스야서도 랑센스야데 줍다 수수수수게 랑젠사데 친시샤단 타녀 지부지견이나 친시샤단데 저거 말이로 줍다 수수수수게 다단당에 정말 남나 투도 그러잖아서 줍다 수수게 랑젠사데 민직버레스 단다 로가요레스 어딜랍션디
So did deba
단다 도데바게 랑젠사데 ngobol로 코레스.
Right. So this is according to the Sutra school, right? This Rang Senso specifically characterized phenomena here. Now, the different tenet systems all have different views, and if we go through all of them, it's not really going to get too confusing, or it's not the right time to do it. But understand that this, for the Sutra school, the specific characterized phenomena, Rang Sen Di Nobo Yin, is synonymous with functional thing or thing, so which is any impermanent. So specifically characterized phenomena and thing are synonymous.
저한테 네 무슨에서 김진 갈라고 했으나 랑제 세번 나올라도가 랑제 세번 아니디 무슨 메시지 똑발라 랑제 세번 나도고요 말아 똑발라 튼지다님도 되대요 튼지 되도 랑제 세번 나도고 무슨 되게 원시게 정말 무슨 나도고요 어디래.
Right, and this is why they say that it's only a direct perceiver, because these things can only appear to direct perceivers. To a conceptual consciousness, it's mixed in with this meaning generality or this generic image. So it can't conceptual consciousness can't directly perceive these objects. So that's why they say these appearances without apprehending have to be direct perception.
다들 믹스에 예와스게 다 라리켈레니나 무슨다 라링이 샤용거라. 얘나 내샤도 친시대샤도 베나 나나망에베 친시니에서 와오데 코베 응원부 통화 마동냠 템좀 템버치베 문지왕 무슨 다비스 당보디데래. 당보디 친시니에서 오데도 이거들 나나망에 로 친신이스 코베 응원부 통화 마동님네 텐좀 덴버치베 문주 옹보 무슨 답 당보들 디나나망에 찍래 친시직
저디 랑르켈렌디
엘엘디 랑르켈렌이 셔다 당보테니 요레스데 도데와 랑르켈렌 시그라.
So then it says an illustration of awareness to which an object appears is not sustained are, for example, a sense direct perceiver apprehending blue, which induces the doubt which one just did I see the blue or not. Mental direct perceivers in the continuum of ordinary beings apprehend the five objects, form and so forth, and self knows experience. Okay. Okay, so the first example is the sense direct perceiver apprehending blue, which induces doubt which one just did I see blue or not.
원보디라 참아도 인자 아니 치수 토연도 텐좀지거래 아 대대 원보이나면은 텐좀 가르쳐서 나라망에베디 차르와 서 참아이나 아니 텐시지 내가 원보데데 요레 현도고다 어디르다.
So at this point you have this, if you had a valid cognizer, a prime cognizer apprehending blue, it wouldn't induce the doubt. It has to be an appearance without apprehending. So you see something and you think, is that blue or not? So the basis for arising that doubt is this appearing without apprehending. If it was the prime cognizer, then you'd see it clearly. You'd see the blue, or you'd see the cup, or you'd see whatever.
단 이번에 수수교육이 숙소 퇴행하진배 잉어 당스제 대념스녀라 그랬지. 그러와 수수교육이 숙소 퇴행하시되다 송지미시 아니 단지미시 믹시 제나시 제실루시 이시 여러 디 이중무슨 여러와 디 치스랑 이중무슨 티샤 한 대다 대념스녀라 그랬어. 그 진시들이다. 진시 I gotta
find that example.
당기 되거든. 당하라 마티도 제다.
제로로.
당기 돼 뭐 tensom tembe ngunzi dang lapsa ombo ngusum dang susu yoyu susu tyanga jimbe yingwe dang se tinyong sinyora ri to sama na la manga re so da tangi da ra re tanda da ra re tangi los da ra tangi je da ra
Oh, I see. That's the second example. Okay. So then the second example, which is mental direct perceivers in the continuum of ordinary beings, apprehending the five objects, form, and so forth, and self knows experiencing those mental deceivers. That's a second example of this appearing without apprehending.
So tyanga se na suk ta di ro rijang hadrwa diye di jimbe wangu jis tambe ni yijung simjora odirida.
So this is so the nanglamanyam kandiru.
Yingwe penalwaji kandesharsana nge migdi stadi amjogi yawo komadunjo di chasonga yang amjo dalanye de mige wo tonto masonga ani nagu kala tima yawo nomadu dinde yungora sim jigla shugdewa gona de yungora.
Okay, so the reason for this is that ordinary beings can only really focus on one thing. So if you're looking at something, you can't really be focused on sounds as well. Or if you're hearing, you can't really focus. Yeah. So at the time that you're focused on seeing something, then at that point it creates appearing without ascertaining for the sound, for the ear consciousness. And vice versa. If you're listening to something, it might create the similar thing for the eye consciousness, or if you're eating, if you're tasting something, it might create for the other senses appearance without apprehending.
ade only the chis getting you the English gora yijung sum de nalamang charo da ko tangbe English ko tangbe English yingwe mangbo shujero de sama nalamang re do
the yin de. So at this point, the second moment of that might create a mental perceiver, right? And this subsequent perceiver, the mental, is also said to be appearance without ascertaining.
제단다 디 먼저 디 매워서 탑람서 그래 가르쳐 그래 라비나 안에도 균에 라고도 먼저 다 심디 다다가 가나 샤도 버셔야 됐다 탑람 야셔래 제단 아니 단다로 지랑네 베나 잘라로 지랑 믹스게 잘라야 되는데 가와샤그이나 수수 잘라데라 샤인 스팅마 찡이 수수 랍정에 잘라데 샤인 에 잘라데 샤인 스베 템보스네로 템보 템보 깨주네 안디 예연도 봐 잘라 가르가르 유메도 저 야고 스타위나 아니 치스 람산 템보 세토고라 탑람 야쇼데 심데 네 다다와 간라 샤드해야 되다 다다와 간라 샤드위나 아니 배제다 첨바 템보 차야라 펜도 배 첨보여로 나는 뉴르로야 펜도였다.
So how do we sort of work with this? How do we remove this kind of appearance without apprehending? Well, it's to be aware of what we're doing. So if we put something down somewhere, to really take a moment to really register that that's where we put that thing. And then, in this way, if we could constantly be recognizing this, then it makes our mind more stable, improves our memory, and keeps our mind in the present moment. So this is how we can sort of stabilize our mind and reduce this appearance without ascertaining.
단단하란저 배차셔는 진짜 저란저 진짜 니들 현재 심디 낭미디 가르쳐에 능에 부고 가르쳐에 능에 톡부 파마도 가르쳐에 나 심데 단대비나 한단단 니데 계지셔신 저데 발라발라 세지미시 제요 말도 다 심디 다다와 샤는 아니 더다도 디레 아니 라트용 거라 되도 심디 닝기요라 심라마도 다 가르쳐에 치 심디 칠로 중년데도네 되네 제일 진짜 차스나나 제 템버체 되고 말이야. 이게 정말 나는 뭐 그래. 배배는 단단하게 요래 되고.
So like for example for us here now, if you're here but you're thinking about other things, like you might be thinking about what's happening with your family or your friends or what's going on with Donald Trump at the moment or whatever it might be, right? He might win. It could be close. Anyway, it means your mind's not in the present moment. So you might be hearing what's being said, but you're not listening. It's just blah, 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 blah. And then later, if somebody asks you, well, what was said in the class, you wouldn't have any idea, right? Because it all appeared, but none of it was ascertained.
제가 dos 년대에 심디 잉로다 아니 베절라 믹다 따제 년대나 야가요래 심디레 야가도 근데 베절라 따 베절라 따라 아니 스틸 제셰 투버 가리자기도 하고 그라 도스 삼년대나 즉 대즈년 주야데 카고요래
So what can help is that if you read the text, if you follow the text at the same time as listening, this helps to keep your mind more focused and helps retention. If you're kind of not really looking at the text, then you're just sort of looking around, this can kind of lead to more distraction and less comprehension.
근데도 저 미디 독스탄나 심디 람산 잉로다 미디 마다나 심디 제단도 유 곰자디 믹마 따고라디 펜 기전 첨보래 Make those dana lamsan judo, make the map of the sim to duel.
If you keep your eyes down, like look down, then your mind will be less distracted. If you look up, immediately your mind tends to be distracted. That's why in meditation you always look down because it helps to keep the mind focused.
양 셈바 보수 토고라 셈바 보수 토고 셈바 마지거든데 요도 양 믹마다 줘 말이야 믹파다.
I don't know how we say this in English. If the mind's like maybe agitated, like maybe agitated, then also this can, it's not quite stressed. It's not quite like that. Agitated?
Agitated la na I think sometimes sadness or Samba Majiwaro, Chairo, Majiwatan Pusuto, this time, Sansan, Samba Chigma, Nemo, Yeristoma, Sim Numa, Yamde or Shira.
Okay.
Tindagadella, big down.
So maybe not agitated, it's not quite right. It's more like the mind goes down. I just asked Geshler what this book is how to translate, because they use it all the time in Tibetan, but in English we don't really have. But it's like the mind sort of down. It's not quite like sadness, like it's a bit different. It's maybe just the mind that's a bit like nuba, doesn't have power, doesn't have any strength. So maybe you'd say downcast or something like that.
Oh, did that. Adine downzo delinda shivadi da tenzum.
So then the next one, the fourth one, Shiba, is doubting consciousness. We're on the next page is 39 in my book.
Tenzum. Tenzum said, de inam, de menam, said the rod and tenzum radra. Until the Tinina Sevashada, Rangdog, Tanis top with Balabda, Rangdog is the Lokorang Topgre, Sheng Jema, Lokorang top, Rang Topgi, Tanis top with the Yina, Menam said the rod at the Tenzum.
So, the definition is a knower which has qualms too pointedly by its own power. So it has a doubt about being one thing or the other. So often it can be, is it that or is it not that? It doesn't have to be, so it could be, is it that or is it not that? But it's too pointedly doubting.
So then the Rangdop said, Koran Rangdop, Shenji Dog Tanis Tobuina, Tenzum Chagio, Lo Shenji Nuvedo. Koran Rangdop Kirwa, Koran Rangla Nuvame, Lo Koranla, Peshiag Nuva de Meviche. Ranganzo de Midawa Shiag, Lo Koran Nuvame, and the Midawa Yina, Menam, Tenzum Sadora, Lo Koranla, Rangdop Grimmish. Shenji Shavina, Niyungo Mares, Jumze, Lo Shembe Nuvedo ko Tenzum.
So this is its own inducing doubt under its own impetus or its own power. It's not doubt induced by another mind or under the power of another. It's under its own power that the doubt is induced. So the reason for that is because this doubt is a secondary mental factor.
텐좀당 총된의 유에 조심디 텐좀 차로 여러 텐좀당 총된의 조심 여러 텐좀 님도 존이 조심디 텐좀 말어 그래서 이나 텐좀이 또그 타니스 토버래 이나엔 텐좀 말했어 그래서 그 신기도 기차래 랑도 말했어
Oh, okay. So this is to distinguish it from the primary, like the doubt is so it's under its own power. So it's not the same as the primary consciousness because it's a secondary factor. It's not the same as the primary consciousness that induces it. That it 소심디 la teni chungire.
소심 될 때네 말해. 소심디 텐좀 될 때네 도과지 그래. 소심디 텐좀라고 말했어.
So yeah, it's
소심 될 때네 좀 말다. 소심디 타니스 도과래. 텐좀다 총디디 교 소심디 도과 이나면은 사고요. 이나 소심디 텐좀 말해. 나코 타니스 도과래.
Okay, so there's the primary mind and the doubt as to whether something is or isn't something might be very close, but they're distinctly separate consciousnesses. This primary mind and the doubt are not the same mind. That's so that's what.
데데라다. 랑도지 타니스도 텐좀다 총디디 교에 셈당스라. 조심다. 데코디 교에 초서니 텐좀디 떡이 아니 도버레스. 텐좀기 떡이 곧 도버사게 요레스. 이나 랑도지 타니스 도고 말해서 어디다 데세부티는 또 말로신데요.
So it says here, it explains it in the text, a mind which possesses similarity with doubt and feelings, etc., which are accompaniers of that mind possessing similarity with the doubt, have qualms by the power of doubt, but do not have qualms too pointedly by their own power. Is that clear? So,
배는 뒤여러 텐좀라나 저 포바디 미다고이나 따바이나 텐좀산이죠로 심중래 심중 텐좀디 심중래 이나 텐좀단 총된디 죄에 조심디 이나 메남 따사그래 이나 텐좀라고 말했다
디소심디
조심디라 텐좀라고 말했어
Okay,
그 타니스 도구여래
so that so for example, if we're looking at the cup and we have doubt, is the cup impermanent or not impermanent? That doubt that we're having is a secondary mental factor. But the primary mind that the doubt is associated with, that is not in itself the doubt.
이나 그 도바사고라. 그 도바사고라. 이나면은 사그래. 이나 텐좀 말했어.
So it is conceptual.
조심디 도바사고래.
So the primary mind has this thought, is it or no, it might have this two-pointed thinking, but that in itself is not the doubt.
텐좀그 도구 차래. 텐좀기 떡 있고 도바드 사레스. 코란랑 떡 말했어. 조심 떡.
So it is induced by the power of the doubt, right? But it's not induced under its own power. This primary mind. Is that clear? So do you understand what a secondary mental? So give us an example. Okay, doubt. That's easy. That's some.
And another
secondary mental factor.
Doubt's one of the 5 delusions.
Okay, so like Dochag, so yeah, there is examples like the 5 omnipresent mental factors and other doubts in a delusion. So there's attachment and so forth. So this the Dochag tang nyamang shempa ini so simply kotu jungwenga kunruna deni dinga ini.
다나 심중당 조심 켜버셔야 되나. 켜버.
So what's the difference between a primary mind and a secondary mental factor?
A primary mind sees the generality of the object, whereas the secondary mental factor sees the more specific
So the primary minds see the generality of the objects, with the secondary mental factor have more specific focus. The Tsosem the chi tangi tongire, right? Chi tongire, you know, the mix the semjong the this kebar tongire.
어다그래 디다디 세부차도 하지다 조심게 유조디 생거 뭐조디 뭐 남는 되게다 찔만 하죠 뭐디 아니 심중기 켜버디 신으로 제가 당기기 디 텐좀디 그 켜버 체기도 하디 포버디 미다고 이나 메남스도 켜버 체용 거다
So the primary mind sees the essence or the essence of the object, and then the secondary consciousness can see is related to the specific characteristics of the object. So, for example, in this case, the doubt saying, is this cup impermanent or not?
그래서는 디다다 제주 징우다 그 제주 샹우다 다디 텐좀디다 심중이나 코다 총대죠 조심지 여러와 아래 심중이나 코코디요 조심지 요다 코 총대로니 조심지 예외 차르다 그러 요인자다 텐좀다 총대죠 조심디 텐좀다 미버 넘버 총고 요인자 아니 더버사르고 조심디 더버사르 이나 코랑 랑덥지 말해 수dob지라서는 텐좀 뒤에 dob지 차래서 어디 네 차서 아니 코다 코아들링서
아마디 so the some diletini
텐좀 될 텐좀다 조심 님도 여러분
right
알레응을 컨도 될라다 아 총대 남방아데 가래라 총대 남방아데 중 가래 조심다 심중 총대 남방아 여러
so the
code 말해 총대 남방아라 총대 남방아 중 세저러 하고서
디콘롱아 말해
성대 남방아 중 베진다디 샤시데 지멜로 다디리 Alright, now we move next one. Okay. That the page dinan do sing the magic dinan the andron loimba the sebuda da 텐좀다 총대기 심당한시 디코드주 초와소니 텐좀지 dob지 더기라 어두데 텐좀지 dob지 도버지레스 조심디 텐좀지 dob지 있어야 돼 내가 됐던 거 dob지 조심디 더버사르시디 딱고 이나면서 이나야 조심디 다 디코드주 초와도 텐좀 말스 줌데 가래서나 디 랑도지 더버 말에스데 랑도지 타니스 더버 마이노 슬라다 어디 줌제데
So as it says here, when you read through this example, a mind which is similar to doubts and its feelings, which are accompanies of that mind possessing similar to, have qualms by the power of doubt, of that mind of doubt, but do not have qualms too pointedly by their own power. So this is meaning that this is what's induced by another power. This doubt is induced by, the qualms are induced by the power of the doubt, not by their own power.
So
if you can understand that, then that's good. So then there's three divisions of that. So doubt tending towards the factual, doubt tending towards the non-factual, and equal doubt.
다디 알아서 진실어시시나 빼나 다디는 다닥바로 베제나는 라도 다디 디세기로 언제 다다 담망고 라야데 가르스나 지라고도 힌두게 grup다 가시지 다디 딱바래라고 그러 힌두게 지라고 쓰니죠 여러 힌두게 grup다 군저게 다닥바래라고 그러 다디 딱바래라고 그러 세상 다 남베데 다닥바 말에 다 미다고래라고 여러 근데 다다고 레스 타직도 지용 거와 근데 티치스 다다고 말하다 다 미다고리 김진 가르거스네 마체버에 지지 제버에다 깨진 말에서 그런데 다 미다고 이나 다다고 이나 사제네 답시진 다 미다고 인사레 삼나 다 미다고 인사레 사나 아니 된줄다 된줄을 봐 된줄
힌두 디르
that Hindu lagarwa, Kale Juru Gora,
So, you know, for example, we could use of this doubt, different types of doubt. So in the beginning, like there's Hindu practitioners who believe that sound is permanent, right? This is part of their philosophy. Of course, the Buddhist viewpoint is that sound is impermanent. But if they can come to, through reasoning, start to think, oh well, if it's a product, if sound's a product, therefore it must, and then start to think about if it's produced, it might be impermanent. Then they might start to have doubt. Oh, is this sound impermanent or not? Like, is it permanent or not? And so their thinking can slowly change.
다 되네 당고 찬염들래라 이나 면은 찬염제 되네 튕규래도 다 답니다와 인사래 삼바디 튕규 텐좀 당고들에다.
So in the beginning it might like be equal doubt, like maybe it's permanent, maybe it's like equal, and then it might tend more towards the fact that it is actually impermanent.
이 당보지라.
Yeah. So that's the first.
다 니버디 가서는 다 딱과 인사래서 봐. 다 딱과도 미다니네 딱과 인사래서 라비나 아니 되면 유스다. 다 딱과 차도야 말아봐다.
Right, so then the second possibility is they might tend towards the sound being permanent. And then they have doubt leaning that way. So then that's doubt leaning to the non-factual.
거기 덕과 사원은 덕과 시체오래로 왔다. 덕과 시체오. 됐어. 이나 맨날 인사를 하셔라다. 어딘데로 하지래. 진규 말에 대다다고래서 진짜로 해차로라.
At this point they haven't actually held on to that or really grasped that. They're sort of tending towards that sound being permanent, but they haven't actually been able to like they haven't really apprehended or held that.
다 찬염사데 다 미다과 이나 맨날 다 패치 다 미다과 인설에 다과 인설에 다다과 인설에 미다과 인설 찬염대 자정합지 없지 제어들다.
And then like the equal or the equal doubt is maybe it's permanent, maybe it's impermanent, like 50-50 could go either way, right? Like it's pretty even, or it's even to which either it's permanent or impermanent.
텐좀디 다 릭질라 텐좀 야고요래. 릭질라 텐좀디 야고요 말에 당한더라.
So in one way, like doubt can be good in one direction, and in one direction doubt can be not so good.
배낭저 다나 지네 겨왕아지 다 레준데도 상아서 하고 말아. 다 연나 메나 요 말에서 라벨레 연나 메나 사와디 야가여와 연나 메나서 아니 쳐다체 아니 김진 삼당 거와 아다 요 말에서 랍데나 아니 삼당 말아 야 요레스 랍데나 삼노시다 당 말아 텐좀 사데비나 연나 메나 근데 연나세 아니 롭종 체 다제체 다 연서레사 아니 도시야 레야도 야고다.
So for example, if you're thinking about reincarnation or past and future lives, you may sort of think, do they exist or not exist? There might be some doubt there, right? And if you have that doubt, you might tend to investigate it more. Like if you really think that, no, previous lives don't exist, then of course you won't investigate it. Or if you really think they do exist, well, then you really believe that. But if you have this doubt, do they exist or not, then you might start to investigate further and through the reasoning come to actually see that, or come to accept that reincarnation does exist.
That this is 통어가는 잖아요, 요래야. 미지 레거로 잘라로 지라이나. 미디 케이나 메나 도바사나야고다. 그래 뭐그를 랍잖아. 아니 벨로시기 되는 용도서거다. 디케 연나 메나 하고 마선라나 아니 데지 남산 타지금도 와 타도 맞잖아. 아니 용도 터버 용구면도 와. 이나 메나 사다나 수 잡식데스 께거더라. 텐좀이스나 잡식께거더. Yeah,
so if we have this in our daily life, it can stop us from jumping to conclusions. So maybe if we lose something, we don't immediately just accuse somebody of being a thief, because if we do that, then that creates problems. If you have a bit of doubt, to whether they took the object or not, you might spend some time to investigate and things like that, and you won't immediately leap to conclusions, which can cause a lot of problems. So having this doubt can be beneficial.
One time, my retreat uncle, he told me, he said he has 1,000 rupees, and he put it on the roof. And one day he put in the pond. He said, one day some Indian man coming, he's stealing my 1,000. I'm not sure. Maybe other day, maybe TCB school student something coming there to him, and he later one day he said, I must heat him, and then 1 year or 2 years later, he's a renovation, house renovation. And then mouse, he 1,000 reviews. Mouse making very home house, all 1,000 making peace, Yeah. These are answer. Did you touch it? Oh, teacher, Timache Lada, Malana, how go, Nezunet Hamagonara, the Kande, they shot Tenzum Shashavina, and Yawada. The Lamsan decision chena and woman there.
So now it's good to, in situations like that, to have some doubt and do some checking first. If you immediately make a decision, then that's not really good.
One time, very funny. We have my friend, and we have very nice food on the some pot, and we sit other room, and then we have lots of discussion debate, and after then we go back, go to the kitchen. And there's momo, dumpling, and other all food gone, We say someone eat, someone do, and later and said other friend with, oh, you eat this. He said, I'm not eating. I said, you eat. We are lost a little bit argue, little bit, funny joking, and finally it's never dog coming, never dog eat it. Never dog come in the window, they eat all food, go back, and they take some momo. They never say, oh, man, you thank you very much, you give me a mad dog is momo. We know, food eating is dog, no person, You decision, you eat, you're a very bad person, He said, I'm not eating, I'm still hungry. Oh, the name on you would that. Tenzom Deshana, Yawoda, Tenzom Deshana, teacher, lad, young woman.
Right, so if you're gonna, this kind of things happens quite a lot, but if you're gonna have doubt first, then you don't immediately leap to the wrong conclusion.
Oh, dear, that is, that looks shit, right? That looks shit.
So then we move on to wrong consciousness on the next page over.
Now, look shit, right? That looks shit, Ryan Chinjulo should be big boss at it. That Chinjulo shows that bet the imba the Maimba Tatego, that tongue.
Okay.
Tatawari, Karimombre, Sero. Tawani, your Zimbadre, that Zimbadre.
So then, a wrong consciousness is a no, which engages with its object erroneously. So that is seeing something which is as not being. The yintang mayan. So something which does exist. So which is as something that is as which isn't, or something that exists which doesn't exist. Yeah, so then it goes through the examples. So secondly, when wrong consciousness is divided, there are two, conceptual and non-conceptual ones. Example of the first are thoughts that apprehend sound as permanent and thoughts that apprehend the horns of a rabbit.
Modern sound is dad is there lagora, dad is there lagora. Panala dad, then I'm doing the one case gara, dig daddy panala, then enjoy your lagora.
You can't do the
modern sound is
the vibration.
Daddy. Oh, what is Jugomare? Some I heard in a monastery the modern sound is someone say, especially machine put in the scale. Stay may teaching stay live there in the sound and scales. Panala, that is dead. That's how
the sound stays in the caves.
The lower than the nature bottle to the motion to
yeah.
And the Dadang near get a shave at the Barula Momushu did Daddy Yundi get other days on the bed. During what they go long, Kashebe, Dunda, Dawa, Lord, and then they give or Laura.
So they say
these
these vibrations stay for a very long time, right? The sound stays for a long time, weeks or months or years. So it's like saying sound is permanent. Something like sound is permanent.
단다 콘조 딜라고라 다디 두 저기 윤지어라 그 대대와 대샤고라 저기 윤 다다고라데
So this sound continuum abides for a very long time.
이젠다 있으리다디 또 먼저 단다 삼다는 예디네 달라야디 저는 암저 코에빠르라 슈도사라 되네마 균이 예디네 라와틸람상 코두고마 디빠르라 주주두고라
그래.
다그 데도디 다그 미카시 예디네 먼저 낭바이나 디케지케지케지 다고 말와 고 주와도 요라 네 콘조 디직바인 바딩 원래 식이요라 디네 쳬바다 페코니 직바인자 다다고리라고라 디 김제 상다도
the sound takes a while to get from when I say it to when you guys hear it. So from the Buddhist point of view, you say during that time the sound's constantly changing, but they seem to say that the sound is just one thing at that point. So the sound that I say and the sound that you hear is the same. So that's saying that it's kind of permanent.
다디 딘데 라고도 치라고라 치라고 단다 힌두게 두다 건조 치라고
This is like this Hindu school of Hindus, the Chidrakpa.
The modern sound is the double the ways the modern sound is the double the ways retarded.
So modern scientists seem to say something very similar.
이나야고 the 다디 수그와 다 수그와 다 수인자 코 교로디 교 먼저 낭바이나 게지 교로 거여라 다게요 말어 바루레 교 망고 여라.
So the sound is form, and from a Buddhist perspective, form is constantly changing, right? Constantly impermanent. It's constantly changing.
다디 다 낭바이나 미다고레스 다 치라고스나 다다고레스 군저 진대게 인자 네 다다고지메 dim바데 록시레다.
So from the Buddhist perspective, we say sound is impermanent, but this sub-school of the Hindu tradition, the Chidrakpas, they say sound is permanent. So this belief that sound is permanent would be an example of this wrong consciousness.
다디나시 단다 힌두나라 겨왕아지 캐면은 얘는데 요라 장배 버드서. 근데 겨왕아지 요 말이지나 록시르와.
So then there's also a school of Hinduism that doesn't believe in reincarnation. So these are called the Gyangpempas, and they they don't hold to past and future life. So that's another example of wrong consciousness.
단다 디 modern scientist professor this conjugate 겨왕아지 요 말이 라면도다. 연아 매남 아주 열이 랍토고 말해. 요 말이 랍토고 말해.
These days, modern scientists, they might have doubt as to whether reincarnation exists. Does it exist or doesn't exist? They say, well, we can't say it does, or we can't definitively say it does, and we can't definitively say it doesn't exist. So then this would be an example of doubt.
다데네 다르고는 지도 몰라도 다티보시 다니월라야 이시 당원시 니치로와 동밀로시들 이시디 밀람지 ngombo 세와나 시당 간주 밀람나라 메다 메나와샤디 맹원에레 삼지나 딜 밀람난게 록시 차로라.
So then an example of this first of the mental non-conceptual wrong consciousness is, for example, a dream consciousness that sees as blue the blue of the dream. So for example, if you see fire in your dream and you think that's actually fire, that's a wrong consciousness.
그래서 니람나라 상장라 저런도인데 연구돼 상장라 니람나라 그래서 어디다 니람래 아니 징기면도
Right.
상장라 병원에 진주는 셈나라 동해당 암달이거든 상장라 데다 니람래 니람나라 데데 때때지 용야다 근데 연구도 알아봐. this 수수야. 수수 니람나기 냠네 저 삼단단라 겨워요.
So, you might have this experience in your dreams that sometimes you might be aware that you're dreaming, and at that point, whatever appears, you don't grasp onto it as being, real. But sometimes you're not, and you really think that these things are happening. Then you can create agitation and fear and all these things in your mind when you're dreaming.
어디로 와 세상 네 이제 이시제 다 원시 되 질랑선다 가능원부 나 짐바 가능 데레 추둥가르 버선 둥가르 세보 나와다 다도서 가능원부 nga 상글라스 캡지 가능원부 레스디나 다 럭시르다
So then, for a sense consciousness, it might be something like seeing a blue slow mountain and believing it takes you blue. So if you're wearing like blue sunglasses or whatever, and you see something as blue which isn't blue, but you believe that it's blue, that would be the example of a wrong consciousness.
제가 가능원부 가리 말 동가 세고 나서야 돼요. 낮에 주고 나거든. 낮에 주고. 가능원부 나야 되다. 가서 딩자이나 상글라스 캡션한다. 가능원부 제스 딩기도 알아. 이지 지기도 왔어요. 동가 수시 세고 나야 돼서 티와 팔아연데. 가부터 상마 세고 통으로 해서 티와.
jaundice, yeah.
티와야 숙침부 차원데. 수시 가부터 상마 세고 통으로 해서 낮에 주.
So, like for example, with this wrong consciousness, just sense consciousness, example could be like for this blue, seeing white things as blue, you could be wearing, blue sunglasses. Or if you have jaundice, then you can see white things as yellow, right? And this would be another example of a wrong consciousness.
어디로 가시 낮에 추기 근데 연구했어요. 그래서 낮에 추기 나와 담에도 샤로 수시 담에도 샤 낮에 추고. 네.
So this would be a mistake due to sickness. So various mistaken appearances can arise due to sickness.
배나 콘도식 전부 사디 수시상모 마우 통도 있어요.
So like if you're really angry, then you can literally start to see things around you as red.
다 sembaji워요나 아니 green 통도 있어요.
Maybe if you're really happy, then everything becomes green.
자, 저기. maybe 좋아.
Any questions?
Online have question? No. Yeah.
With regard to the doubt that's after the definition of doubt.
Yep.
It says a mind that possesses similarity with doubt and with feeling, etc., which are accompanies of that mind. So what does it mean when it says with the feeling? A mind that possesses similarity with doubt, but then it says and the feeling, etc.
Okay. So the question is, after the definition of doubt, it says a mind which possesses similarities with doubt and the feelings. What does it mean by and the feelings? What's meant by that? So the 대참기 senyore요. Then the jela semchek di 코드중화 대참탕 di soa di tonda karere.
네. 초라야디 영화로. 배는 먼저 미시디 공부 통용주 미시디 공부 영어들. 영화디 요다. 유영화들과 유영화들.
Okay.
영화들라 영화세야디 는 당보던 초와야 되는 영화래서 영화디. 영화세 초와세야디 뭐어디 가르스나 영화래스다.
So this feeling means to experience. Right. So, for example, if we see blue, then you could say you're experiencing blue. Like if the eye consciousness sees blue, and then this feeling here means to experience, like we experience blue and so forth.
조심 인제 코드 중에 영화도 연구. 조심 간제지나 그 코드 중에 초와도 연구요.
So, with every primary consciousness, you have this feeling that comes with it in the omnipresent mental factors.
그래서 어느저 주유는 어느저 나 캬기도 없어요. 나 책도 없어요. 나 동해도 나 주도 없어요. 이 초와디 세부차로. 다 되레 마팅서도 대자만인 봐. 어느 믹시기 퍼버통인데 믹시디 코드 영화디 요르다.
So on a certain level, we might say feelings are things like, oh, I'm cold, or I'm angry, or I'm sorry, not if I'm cold or hot or these kind of things. What would say?
And suffering,
Feeling.
sadness,
So suffering,
happy.
sad, happy. But if you go a little deeper, then actually what we see with our eyes and so forth, all of that is experience or feeling.
Tila yor da kan di kor di yu nyo di yor.
So associated with these omnipresent factors is this factor of a feeling or experience, which could be said to be experience.
다 yu nyo la de ma de thando samlo ting sar dro na ani nawa thara re nawa de
Right.
nawa.
So did so di nangware.
다 단데 di yu nyo se di powa nyo se di powa nawa thara me she ji powa nyo the me powa de ra.
Oh, okay. So di nangwa di nyongre.
nangzu thara re nangzu nawa di nyo se yo mar nangzu thara ngi nyo se la go re la go. 나와 거라는 영어스 라우르다. 마 제가 나와 디 영어라는 양 신다지 도구다.
Okay. So what we're experiencing is associated with the appearance, right? And I ask us, it's not. You can't actually say you're experiencing the appearance, but it's associated with the appearance because the actual cup is over there. So we're not actually experiencing the cup. The experience is associated with the appearance.
디 디돌라다 계절 망부 쉐어라디 디nen가 첨부래도 디 쉬우 쉐어
So there's a lot of discussion around this and it's very important to understand.
영어들 유용어 직제로 다 유진 영어 직샤서 유진 권한 용이죠라 어디랑 리레라고 다.
So then there's the experience, there's the thing which experiences the object, and there's the thing which experiences the object possessor, which would be the self-knower experiences the object.
어디 차라. 계단 디 단다 텐좀 그 코드기에 초와디 텐좀 말했다. 이나고 타니스 덕버레스. 일라고.
So this feeling associated with this doubt that comes along with this doubt is not the doubt itself, but it's like associated or connected close to this doubt.
Oh yeah, that is shower.
So we'll stop here.
Haji Berge Jonge Medoda Rera Lenshi Ninde Kimbadi Sanje Shindu Mite Uwagi
Shokunanda Shin-la Chopa-sho Jetsun-la Mekutse Raptenshi Namka-chun-le Chochu-ge-padang Lo-sang-tempe Jome-sa-sun-gi Drowe-mun-sa-tak-tu-ne-gyu-chik Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniryachayami. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified, and all the conducive circumstances be complete. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Saviour of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is unification of emptiness and compassion, to the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduous moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels. Saviour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. By relying on the two accumulations of myself and others in the three times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losang Dragpa blaze for a long time.